Hello, good evening. Welcome to Ubuntu channel. We are live again, giving to you Ubuntu Sports. Like we always do every Friday, we bring to you a program called Ubuntu Sports. Today, the 17th of February, and we are here to help you understand exactly what is happening in the world of football here in Zambia. We've got a lot of things to discuss today, and Lameck will be joining me anytime soon so that he can help you analyze the issues that we are going to raise tonight. Good evening, Lameck. Welcome to Ubuntu Sports.
Yes, good evening, Reuben, and good evening to the viewers. Yeah, it's a beautiful Friday. I have been looking forward to this day so that we may talk sports. We have a lot of issues that we need to talk about. There are a lot of activities going on with in regards to the national teams, the Super League, and a lot of other information that is happening in the world of football in Zambia.
Great. If you're joining us, don't forget to share this broadcast and also tag as many people as you can. And you can also type in your comments, contribute via the comments and the live chat. If you're joining us, you're watching us through YouTube. Lameck, let's dive into the program, shall we? Our ladies are not in the country, but in Turkey, practicing or doing their drills, participating in the Turkish Cup. So far, so good, though not the scoreline maybe that you'd wanted. 1-0 against Macedonia.
Yeah, so far so good. Looking at the preparations, I think they're going well. And if you look at the game, for me, a draw would have been a loss for the Copper Queens. Looking at the caliber of the team and the players that we've had, but again, we also need to put into consideration the fact that the team hasn't been together for some time now. So they were regrouping, like the Kundananjis who are joining the team in a long time. So they also needed some minutes, to get things going with the other ladies in the team. But overall, a well-dominated game. Again, playing opponents of such caliber also gives us an edge because you always have something to learn from. Look at the North Macedonia team. It is not in the top 100, but look at the game that they gave us.
Yep.
They were difficult to break. That should give homework to the coach, because if you can't break a team that is not in the top 100, and then you go to the World Cup, you're playing against top 10 teams, top 20 teams, you have to be more creative. For me, the initial feeling was that after that match, I felt that maybe the coach needed a helper. The coach needed a helper, somebody like a tactical coach or an attacking coach.
You want a consultant?
The Benny McCarthy kind of arrangement.
You want a consultant,
Yeah,
like what's happening at Zanaco?
No, not really a consultant, but just somebody to join the technical bench as somebody who works on the attacking shape of the team, how what to do in the final third. Because yes, the coach is good, we have very good build-up play, but we've relied so much on individual brilliance for our goals. But I think the coach needs to do his homework in breaking down opponents that pack a bus, because you're going to face opponents at the World Cup that know that when they play openly, you may catch them off guard and then score, and then you'll be difficult to break. They may try to catch you on the counter, which North Macedonia tried to do, but they were not so clinical up front. But we saw flashes of them every time they went forward. They were managing to string a few passes, and then they got into a box a couple of times. For the coach, this should be homework enough. He needs to work on his attacking play. He needs to work on his attacking shape. He needs to work on his defending shape as we attack as well. For me, I feel somebody just needs to join that bench and be specifically given that role to take care of. Because yes, the coach has done an all-round good job, but we just need someone to help. For me, that is my feeling. We just need someone to come in and help in that area.
Any suggestion in terms of names that you think might join the team?
Okay, locally it would be difficult to to pick one, but sometimes you would cross the borders and try to find somebody outside. We may try to look for neighboring countries. Even overseas, we may try to look for someone who can fit in the profile, looking at the period that is left, the experience that they may have had working with women and all of that. So for me, that is what is important, because we've had we have very good players. For me, I feel Rachel Kundananji is one of the best strikers in the
Yeah.
world. We have the Grace Chanda, who's very good also. We have Barbara Banda. We have Helen Mubanga, Helen Chanda. We have Briska. And all these other ladies are ladies that would give you a result on any given day. On any given day, these ladies would give you a result against any opponent. But if we want to just rely on their individual brilliance, look, Kundananji is expressive. Sometimes she tries to take things personal when she feels that things are not moving. Some call it that she's a little selfish at sometimes, but for me, I think she's someone who's very expressive. She gets frustrated and tries to take the game like he wants to do his stuff, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But again, we also look at the Barbara Bandas and all of that. How will everyone fit into the team? So it is about trying to fit in the players that the coach has on display. And then another factor is we will rely so much on pace. We have pacey forwards. We need to utilize that at the World Cup, because some teams will dominate games, but we need to hit them on the counter. Yes, at the Olympics, we had Barbara Banda, who did so much, so wonderful work. But now it is a collective unit. We need to play as a unit, defend as a unit, attack as a unit. Mind you, again, our defense is not the quickest. Center back, we are not the quickest, so we need to be cautious again. So there are a number of loopholes, but for me, I believe the team, with a little touching here and there, the team will be a force to reckon with at the World Cup.
All right. To our viewers that missed the match, let's just show you how that goal came by. It came in the 90 minutes additional time, somewhere 94 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. That's when the game. That's when the goal actually came in. Let's just have a look at the goal, then we'll come back. Right, that was a goal scored by Grace Chanda. Great team build up from before the goal, Lameck.
Yeah, again, I will stress the fact that even that goal, we had to rely on individual brilliance. Look at where the pass came from. Left back, center back. Then the center back puts a deep pass to Rachel Kundananji, who had to use her brilliance. Then her marker in out, and then put in that deep ball to Helen, and anticipating that Helen was also making a run. So for me, that's why I feel a tactic, like an attacking coach. I don't know, strikers coach, whatever the coaches are called, but a strikers coach or positional coach or something like that would come in, and if that move was done in the first half, because that is what we were lacking in the first half, and then also the majority part. In fact, the whole of the second half, we lacked those moves by the ladies. So that is what we need, and that was transitional play from defense quickly into attack, and then you catch your opponents off guard before they reorganize. That are some of the points that, for me, I picked from that match to say, okay, we have the potential to know to beat even stronger teams. We have the potential to do the best, but we just need a little bit of touching up here and there.
Great. Tomorrow the ladies are in action. I've seen Barbara Banda has joined the team. She joined the team late after the game for Macedonia. She's very confident that she's tomorrow they're going to have an easy game. She said this is a tournament where we can easily win and also pick the confidence for the World Cup. How do you make of Slovenia's game tomorrow?
Slovenia no pushover. They're a tough team. They've beaten teams such as Kosovo and Kazakhstan. Some decent teams that they've played and beaten. So for me, they lost against teams such as France by slender, like 1-0 scorelines and all of that. For me, again, our chances are that as long as we continue playing against tougher opponents that are more tactical, opponents that expose our weaknesses. For me, I don't have those high expectations on the cup, on Zambia winning the Turkish Cup. For me, I'm more interested in the exposure part. I really love the fact that the ladies will get exposed, and then with continuous exposure, the level tends to go higher in terms of performance if you are exposed to higher level opponents. For me, that is where it is. But it's good that Barbara is in the team now. Let's see how the coach will line the team up. We just need to see how, if Grace Kundananji, Barbara will start up front, or Helen Mwanga will have a slot, or Helen Chanda will have a slot in there. The Priscas, the Ochumba Oseke. We need to see how the coach will manage that. He is having headaches because the girls are good.
The girls are good, and if you look at the all right, we've got a comment there saying Slovenia is very good. I'm not so sure of the name. How do you pronounce the name? Lameck.
No, these are just the
Website said
letters of the
Slovenia is
alphabet.
good. Yeah. Right. So I was talking about the attacking force. When you look at Kondananji, Nachula, now there's Barbara Banda, there's Grace Chanda. It seems it's a hard job for the coach really to pick the starting 11, because all of them are good and they are scoring goals.
Yeah, all of them are good. They're scoring goals, but again, yeah, it's a headache picking a team from those girls, because those girls or ladies, I may say, are doing so much work for themselves individually at their clubs, and then come to the national team. They're all able to deliver when called upon. But again, not everyone can play. When selecting the team, what is more important is your approach, how you want to approach a certain match, and which players feel fit in the system that you want to use. Sometimes you want to sit back and hit on the counter. That will give you, like the Helen Mwanga's, lesser options, because they are not the most pacey of players in that team. So just depends on how the coach wants to approach the match. But yeah, we have a good team so far.
Great. Let's look at our page two where we're looking at the under 20 Afcon. The countdown is almost over because the games are starting on the 19th. Uh, I'm sure you've seen the group. There's Tunisia, there's Gambia there, and Guinea. So, how do you make of Zambia's chances qualifying to the coming out of the group?
I think we have a very good chance of making it out of the group. We have
Hi, Lameck, are
a
you there?
good team. Yes, I'm still here. Can you get me? Hello, Reuben, can you get me?
Right. Yes, though you are breaking. Your line seems to be breaking. Right. Sorry for that. I don't know if Lamek, you can hear me, but my question was
Yeah.
on the under 20. We had a friendly game with South Sudan where we won 3-0. Uh, how was the game for you, and are you happy with the scoreline going forward?
Okay, for me, I wasn't too happy with how the team played, but the win is good for us. But I wasn't too happy on how the team played. But again, I may not be too judgmental on the team and the performance because uh, there was an issue of rotation. Putting in players that the coach needs to take a look at going into the tournament, which players can work best under different circumstances and all of that. So yeah, the performance wasn't the best. I think we can do much better than we did and all of that. But again, it's a positive. A win is a win. It's a positive for us. Let's see what friendly we have again, and then the result that may come. We need to see that one against, I think, Uganda. And then going into the tournament, we have very good chances of making it and qualifying for the World Cup. The under 20 have, I think Zambia has one of the best structures when it comes to the under 20 on the continent. I think we have a good team. We have a good youth structure. We have Super League clubs that are giving young players an opportunity. And then the exposure also, we also look at how exposed are the players. And then if you go down to that team, only a few players in that team are actually coming from lower league clubs. The majority of the players in that under 20 team are coming from Super League or National League clubs. That is also an advantage to us because the opponents we are playing against, some of the players are playing for the under 19s, they're playing for the under teams in their respective countries. But for us, we're coming with a team that has players that are competing in the Super League in a much more tougher league. So yeah, a tournament is a tournament. It's difficult as always, but I think with the preparation that the team has had, positives should come out of it.
Positive should come out of it. But how do you think this team can go? Do you think they might qualify, be in the top four, and qualify for the World Cup?
Yeah, I'm very positive that the team will qualify for the World Cup because at the end of the day, what we need is a win, I think, and 2 draws. That would be enough. 5 points would be enough in a group of 4. But 2 wins wouldn't be, sometimes the win asking it may be too much, but I believe with the team that we have, we can go all the way. We can beat any team in that group. But again, another aspect that comes in is sometimes the body size, the physique of our players compared to the physique of our opponents. That is an issue also because when we play against West African teams, they are much bigger in body size and all of that compared to our smaller players. That can also be a disadvantage on our part.
Great. Let's look at the mood in the camp and also hear what Chipango had to say.
The first 5 days has been okay, but the first days, let me say, the first day and the second day, it was a bit difficult to adapt to the weather, but now we are okay. You could see even for the game for South Sudan, you can see that the boys are really pushing and everything is okay. Very much ready. Tough opponents, I can say, but we are also very ready for this. The coaches have been pushing us so much, and I think nothing to fear. Everything is okay. Very much high competition in camp, and everyone is ready. I hope everyone, at the given time, they will prove that they really want to make Mother Zambia proud. I would like to urge the fans home to keep praying for us and believe in us. I know for the previous 2 games, which is Nigeria and Senegal, there was a bit doubts and all that, but that's football. They need to accept and believe us to say we'll really push and give our best in the tournament.
That's a mood in the camp. Lameck, are you happy with it? And also, you've heard what Chipango has said. Your comment over that?
I think he was highlighting on a number of issues that, preparedness, competition in the team, and all of that. And one thing is that it's not easy for any of the players to just make it in the starting 11 and command the starting place. There's a fierce competition for starting places. That's number one. And when looking at the morale in camp, the mood and all of that, I think the boys are in high spirits. And for the fans, we also look at, we have high expectations. Look at the bar that was set by the 2017 team. A lot is expected from the boys, and I feel the boys understand the assignment, and they'll make Zambia proud.
They'll make Zambia proud. Lameck, this is one of the important team that we need to keep, because this is the next generation of the Chipoloporo.
Yeah, I think these young boys that are currently in the under 20 and under 23 teams are players that we need to nurture, because in the next 4 or 5 years, these are players that will step into the national team and don the Zambia jersey with a lot of pride. But again, we need to manage the transition very well so that we don't make the same mistakes that were made in the 2017 team. And then we also need to make sure that these boys continue competing at the highest level. The 2017 team, it was a good team, but how many players actually made it out of that team and are actually doing well at this particular time? Very few. Look at the Patson Dakas. Yeah, Leicester City, but not so good in terms of form. At national team, his form hasn't been so good. Fashion Sakala doing so much well now compared to the start of the season. Edward Chilufya has gotten very little minutes since he's moved to Midtjylland. And Emmanuel Banda's move to Rijeka. Yeah, a lot has been said about that one, but what we need is him getting more minutes, and that would be a positive for us. But for this team, we need to make sure that this team continues to compete at the highest level, because this is the next generation of talent.
Great. Our viewers, you can also have your views. Just type it in the comment, and we'll be able to read it out here. Let's turn it to the Zambian Super League. Like, when you look at the results that came in, especially last week, very dramatic. We saw the draw that came in. The game between Power Dynamos and Zesco United. That did 90 minutes go by Andy Boweli. What do you make of that game? Because it might be one of the games that would decide the title.
Yeah, we may call it a title decider, but again, for Power Dynamos are really under pressure now, because they've really lost grip. Forest Rangers is catching up, and the rest of the pack is catching up to them. So they are so much under pressure to get results. Another thing is that the general belief is that Power Dynamos are playing not to lose. So that is another belief that, just among the fans, is that the club is playing not to lose. Unlike just playing for a direct win, but the team is playing not to lose. So you go away, fight, at least to go away with a point. And again, the game against Zesco, it was a high intensity game, very tactical, but again, like most big games are, it just takes a moment of brilliance to change the scoreline. And that's what Frederick Mulambia did, cut through the Zesco defense and gave that cutting pass to Andy Boeli, who slotted home to send the match level. Disappointment for Zesco United, but jubilation for Power Dynamos, because they were so much under pressure to pick at least a point from that match.
Let's look at that same combination of Mulambia and Andy Boeli. It seems it's working out so far. In 2 games, remember the first game at Edwin Imbwela, it was from Boeli to Mulambia, who scored. Over the weekend, it was vice versa, from Mulambia to Andy Boeli, who also scored. Do you think that's a partnership that Power Dynamos can depend on going forward?
No. For me, I don't think the partnership between Boeli and Mulambia has matured yet. I think it's still in its infancy. But again, as I earlier highlighted, I think the other week, is that Power Dynamo succeeding won't be so much on the players that they recruited in January, but the players that they had before these guys came in. So in as much as Andy Boeli has come, he would rely so much on what Joshua Mutale, Frederick Mulambia, the Owen Tembos can do for him. The dirty work that these boys have to put in to make sure that Boeli, who comes in and helps the team get the title. But for the partnership, again, I think there's an understanding between the two players, because positional understanding. Look at the NAPSA game. We can also look at this game against Zesco United. So there's just that communication between the two guys. We just hope that Joshua Mutale gets back to his best again, and then see how far Power Dynamos can go.
Great. Lazarus Kambole is making headlines once again, Lameck. It seems to be settled at Zesco United.
Yeah, I think the case of Kambole was just him not being too comfortable in a foreign land, because a few weeks ago he was at Yanga, and then in some of the friendlies that he had played, feedback was that he looked so much out of confidence. He looked lost in the matches and all of that. But bring him to Zesco United, I think it's just a case of him being in a familiar surrounding, that is helping him get those goals. And then coming into a team that he's so much familiar with, yes, the players may have changed, but the coach is still the same. A number of players, yes, they've played with him before, but at the end of the day, I think it's just a case of him not being able to adapt in a foreign land. But he's a good player, but that is not only the case. He's not the only case that have gone abroad and went back home because they were homesick or something like that. Look at players such as the Dimitri Payets of France who left West Ham because he was homesick and all those cases. So the Kambole story, yeah, he's making headlines. Let's see how far he can go. But he's still a younger player, and if with good form, I think Younger may also have him back in June. We'll see how Zesco United are planning, if they plan to have him extend his contract and buy him off from Younger, or maybe they are just having him as a temporary solution up to the end of the season.
If you look at the table, Lameck, there are a lot of draws. What exactly is happening there? Is it because it's competitive, or was we lacking the creativity that people can win matches? What's really happening in the league?
I think the reason for the draws is because a lot of teams are playing cautious. So a lot of the ZSL teams play cautious. They are not so much into risking, throwing caution to the wind. That is why we recorded a very big number of draws. It is because teams approach matches with a lot of caution. They don't want to concede. They don't want to be exposed as much, and all of that. But if you are to win the title, you need to, to break those boundaries and push opponents to the limit. And as much as you're exposed, you can also push your opponents to the limit and see if they can break. Try to break your opponents, but be careful not to be broken as well. But this, the draws in the league is just about caution and the approach by the coaches.
Hey, oh, sorry. My network keep on tripping. Let's just run through the fixtures for tomorrow. A double head at Tinchanga Rangers at Tinchanga Stadium. The first match is Kansanshi versus Power Dynamos, and the second match is Tinchanga Rangers versus the team that I don't know if you're supporting it, but of the jersey that you're putting on, Forest Malembe. The potential log leaders tomorrow if Power Dynamos mess up in the first game. What's your comment?
Power under pressure. They now need to start picking results because they've realized that Forest are now on their backs. Forest Rangers don't have so much pressure because for them it's all about one match at a time and wait for Power Dynamos to tumble. Forest Rangers will only get under pressure if the number of games reduce and they haven't reduced that gap to maybe 1 point or less. But as it stands, I think Forest Rangers are just playing it one game at a time. Yes, they have aspirations of ambitions of winning it, but they are not so much under pressure compared to Power Dynamos. Power Dynamos are in it and they can't let it go. So that is two different scenarios. But again, Power Dynamos Kansanshi is not is a tough match. Look at Kansanshi last time.
But
Kansanshi played at
they've got a lot of injuries, especially in the striking force. Sate is injured. Also, who's the striker who came out from Zesco? The Kenyan Were. Justin Were is also injured. Do you think this team can still fight the Power Dynamos?
Yeah, they can still fight because football is a team sport. And then Kansanshi don't only have Sate and Were. Yeah, they are starters, but there are also other players that are in the team that come in as supports for those guys. So I feel Kansanshi will fill in that void, and then let's see how this match comes out. Because last time they played that in Chingola, they managed to beat Green Eagles. When nobody else gave them a chance, they managed to beat Green Eagles. Let's see if they can do that again and beat Power Dynamos, a club that hasn't lost in a long, long time.
Yeah.
For
Your prediction
Nchanga,
over
I think I feel the match may end as a draw, a nil-nil draw. For me, I feel the match may end as a draw. For Nchanga Rangers, I feel Nchanga Rangers will regret firing Robert Tembo. I have a feeling they will regret firing Robert Tembo. Yes,
there?
Agrechiandi comes with a lot of experience, but his type of play may not really suit the current players at Nchanga Rangers. I feel they don't really suit because his approach to games, he's a very cautious coach. Very cautious. He's not one, that plays a lot of possession football and all of that. But the players and Changa Rangers are those players that work best when you're playing like a more possession-based type of game. But for that one against Forest Rangers, I'm giving Forest Rangers a win.
Let's talk about the military derby. Green Buffaloes is hosting Red Arrows. It's not an easy match. One of the matches that I love, one of the Lusaka derbies that I love is the military derby because of the tension that is always there.
Yeah, for Red Arrows versus Buffaloes, it's always a tough match because they are bragging rights at stake. Again, Buffaloes are in good form. I think they are playing really well compared to the other seasons. This season they are playing really, really well. Red Arrows are also in it. They want to push for a continental slot. It's a tough match, but I feel Red Arrows may just edge Green Buffaloes. I just feel Red Arrows have that cutting edge to beat Green Buffaloes tomorrow.
Let's turn to Sunset Stadium. Zanaco will be hosting Nkwazi. Zanaco, things seems not to be happening with the consultant. In 3 matches, they have not scored any goal. This is something that they should need to get worried, Lameck. But I think you feel maybe they stand a better chance tomorrow against struggling Nkwazi.
Yeah, I think Nkwazi have shot themselves in the foot. They're free falling, and the match against Zanaco should be a win for Zanaco. I feel it should be a win for Zanaco tomorrow.
Thanks. And where do you think Zanaco will end this season? They're in number 8 right now, but they're not consistent. This is not the Zanaco that we know.
Yeah, I think Zanaco may make it into the top 6 bracket.
All right. Let's look at the last game that will be played on Sunday. We look at the game for Zanaco. Oh, sorry, not Zanaco, but Zesco United. Zesco will be against NAPSA, one of the strong teams or stubborn teams this season, with the coach Perry Mutapa. How do you look at this match?
I think it's gonna be a tough match, a tactical match. But again, what will be the difference is individual brilliance from the players of Zesco United or NAPSA Stars. But it will be a tough match. It will be very tactical. Perry Mutapa, having drawn against Musa, he's looking at getting back to winning ways. Same as George Rwandamina Zesco United, the position they are in isn't the best right now. He wants to, climb up the ladder and maybe finish in a respectable position. So it's a tough match, but expect a very tactical match, a very high intense match with a good passing game. For me, I feel both teams have played a good passing game, but again, it's the tempo of the match that will be high and it will be an interesting game.
It will be an interesting game. Lameck, this is where we just need to wrap it up. This weekend we've got a lot of games, a lot of them from the CAF Champions League, Zambian Super League, the Turkish Cup is being played, the Under-20 Afcon will be starting on Sunday. I don't know which games are you going to be watching this weekend, and your concluding remarks.
Yeah, for me, I think I'll be watching Cafe Celtic versus Mufulira Wanderers. That will
At
be
Internet Stadium.
match. Yeah, that will be match number one. And then on the weekend, I think I'll watch Zesco against Napsa Stars, and then maybe catch a highlight or two of the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederation Cup, and also the Copa Queens. I'll keep a close eye on the Copa Queens also. And for the closing remarks, I think Zambian football is headed in the right direction. It just needs the support from the fans. Buy as much merchandise as possible to support the growth of the Zambian game. It's not all about clubs, but it is also about Zambia as a country, and then possible opportunities that may come with our teams doing so much better, especially when teams qualify for continental football. I think a lot of people have to be hired and all of that, so that is also an opportunity for employment.
Sorry, Lameck, before I let you go, there was news that was circulating this week, and I think should be yesterday or the day before yesterday. Ronaldinho is coming to Zambia, Lameck, and you can't just go without your comment.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. A lot is expected, but we also need to have a team in place that will compete favorably for us as Zambia. And Ronaldinho, these are players that we grew up hearing about, watching on TV. So it's a big opportunity to meet one of the greats of the game. Yeah, in as much as he's retired now, but just Ronaldinho visiting Zambia, is a big headline. For me, it is a big headline because these are people that have changed how we look at football right now. So for me, I will be at that match. I will be at that match. I'll make sure I watch that match in the stadium.
You just have to be there, Lameck. Thank you very much, Lameck, and thank you also to our viewers, ABDGNY. Thank you for the comments and following us and watching through this program. Till next week, same time, it's good night from us.
Good night.